Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about Dungeons & Dragons. We're going to talk about BOMT, Book of Many Things, Chapter 6, the Rogue Chapter, and specifically we're going to talk about new decks. So new decks, what are new decks? This is a section in Chapter 6 of Book of Many Thing Rogue where it's presenting new decks for player characters to use as magic items. So Book of Many Things is really incredible. So we've had the Deck of Many Things as a thing in the Dungeons & Dragons universe for a long time, but now the Deck of Many Things is a literal, real thing in the hands of the player. And so when the player is using the Deck of Many Things, it is mirroring in a really strange way their player character holding the same deck and drawing in the same way. And this is not a small thing. This is going right back to 1983, where literally parents were saying, hey, do you guys know what's fantasy and what's reality? And Gary Gygax, almost like he was trolling American parents, were like, hey, how would you like I know you guys are worried that your kids will play Dungeons & Dragons, get lost in the Dungeons & Dragons world. What if I made a cartoon where your kids were playing Dungeons & Dragons and then literally got lost in the Dungeons & Dragons world? It is this extremely purposeful blending of reality and fantasy, right? And honestly, I'm here for it, man. I get very much enjoyment from the confusion. And not confusion, not confusion, a melding, right? And I think it's really fascinating, right? But here, I was really impressed. I'm incredibly impressed with the Book of Many Things. And one of the things so in Chapter 6, it says, hey, here's new decks, right? Now, these decks they can be represented and constructed by the Deck of Many Things, the physical one in the box of the actual physical product. But the reality is they also serve as intangible magic items that exist only within the realm of Dungeons & Dragons for the player characters. And one of them I want to talk about today is the Deck of Dimensions. I was really impressed with this. So the Deck of Dimensions is put forward. It is a magic item for a Dungeons & Dragons player character that a dungeon performer would be handling, would be controlling, right? And basically what it does is it has three distinct powers. Marked card, right? So the player character, let's say the character is a Tiefling Bard. The Tiefling Bard can pull out one card and set it down in a place, right? And then over the next 24 hours, they can go wherever they want, right? And then at any point, if they're in danger, right? Or if they simply want to return to the place they were before, maybe at a different time when there's less people there or when they're not expected there, they could simply say a trigger word and then they go right back to where the marked card was. Really fascinating, enjoyable use of a magic item, right? But it doesn't end there. Riffling Portal. And so basically the character literally just spins the entire deck in front of them, creating a window of cards, right? And then they can go through that window of cards as though the spell Arcane Gate was cast, and then the deck pops back into their hand. And the same thing with the marked card, right? They put this physical card down, but the card is magically recreated. It's never destroyed. It's never lost. It doesn't matter if anybody carries it off. The deck always returns to its state because it's magical, right? These magic items in Dungeons & Dragons are real and they are outrageously powerful, right? And player characters love this. They love the idea that they have this magic item that is extremely difficult to lose, right? And that, it's going to pop back into their hand after use. And it's very, very impressive. Last is Shuffling Stride, right? And this is, they can take a card out of the deck, throw it anywhere around them for 60 feet, and immediately teleport to where the card is. So, Deck of Dimension, right? Give this to a Tiefling Bard, right? Look what happens, right? You have this Tiefling Bard who can appear wherever they want, right? Quickly, powerfully, surreptitiously, right? And it is a genuine, very real, very powerful magic item, and it's brilliant. It's never been presented anywhere else, right? And it is, and a lot of people complain about D&D 5e. They're whining that their OSR or their indie game are being outsold. And they constantly want to pretend that it's not for cause, right? But it's for cause. Book of Many Things is taking lessons from previous Dungeons & Dragons. One of the lessons, Journeys of the Radiant Citadel. There was not a decent magic item in that entire book for a player character, which was astounding, right? And I said it right here on this channel. I was like, this is abominable. Like, that there should have been more things for player characters to use in this book. And they listened. Book of Many Things is filled with incredibly powerful, incredibly useful, incredibly valuable, right, magic items that are unique and innovative. I was incredibly impressed with the deck of Dimensions. What magic, and in my humble opinion, it's amazing. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. What's important is when I get to hear your humble opinion. What did you think of Book of Many Things? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Let me know in the comments below. Please consider subscribing, and have a fetch millennium.